Right, I'm now going to show you how we can write our own particle routine in multi-platform arcade game designer. Now there are three built-in particles in MPAGD. There are the starfield particles, there are the explosion routines, and there's the trail, the vapor trail effect. Oh, plus the lasers, of course, so that's a fourth particle type. But here we're going to write our own. We're going to code our own little particle routine, which is going to be very simple. For want of a better suggestion, I'm going to do a little bubble routine so that bubbles emerge from sprites, and I'm going to use the demonstration game again for that. So let's load up Geezer, and we're going to go to the enemy sprite type event. Now what we want to do is have these sprites generating bubbles. I know it's silly for skulls to do that, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So as we're going to be generating the particles in this sprite event, this is a good place, I think, to put the particle code. So we do that at the end of the event, and we will need to put in some instruction to say we're defining the particle behavior. So what we do is we put in a define particle clause there, and then we're going to move the particle up, because bubbles do move up, and then we're going to decay the particle, which basically ages it, and when it gets to the end of its life, it gets removed from the screen without actually hitting the edge of the screen. We're going to have a shelf life for our bubbles. They're not going to stick around indefinitely. So that's all we need to do for the sprite behavior. It's just going to move up and decay, and eventually it's going to just be removed from the screen. But in the event itself, where we need to generate the particle, we need to put some code. So what we'll do is we'll have a sprite variable. We'll use setting b, because that's not used in this event. So we'll add 1 to setting b. If setting b is more than 5, let setting b equals 0, restart the counter, and then we're going to generate a particle. So that's done with the new particle command, and new particle takes one argument, which is the number of frames that the particle remains on screen, in this case 20. And that's important because we are using particle decay. So with new particle 20 and particle decay, we know that that particle is only going to remain on screen for 20 frames, and then it's going to be removed. So that's all the code we're going to write for now. So we just close that, export our source code, and then we load it up in WinApe. So let's bring up WinApe's assembler with F3, open geezer.asm, that's our generated assembler file. So we just control F9 to build that, and that's built with no errors there. So we click OK. Now we just run the game with call 2000, and we select the control option from the menu, and there we see the skull is generating bubbles. It's only a very simple effect, but it just shows you what you can do with MPAGD.